Within the walls of this fortress, Polish soldiers held out valiantly during the Battle of Modlin, a battle that took place during the German invasion of Poland in 1939. It is one of these forgotten World War II battles we're going to talk about today. I'm here at the Modlin Fortress, which is located north of the Polish capital of Warsaw. This fortress was originally built by the French in the early 19th century and later expanded by the Russians. Taken by the Germans in 1915, and then after the First World War, Modlin became part of the Second Polish Republic and was modernized with modern bunkers, anti-tank and anti-aircraft equipment. Its main purpose was to provide cover for Warsaw from enemy attacks from the north. And that attack came on the 1st of September 1939. After the WWII incident, which was a false flag attack perpetrated by the Germans, the German battleship Schleswig-Holstein fired its first shots on the Polish garrison located at Westerplatte near Gdansk, back then the free city of Danzig. German forces invaded Poland from the north, the west and the south, and were aided with Slovak troops by a swift and ruthless advance by German airplanes and German armored units. They smashed through the Polish defenses. When the Poles failed their counteroffensive near Bzurą, Modlin was in the same pocket as Warsaw and was basically surrounded by enemy forces. In September 1939, it already contained huge amounts of men and military material, including 4 infantry divisions, totaling some 15,000 men, 96 artillery pieces, 7 tanks, and an armored train number 15, christened Śmierć, or Death. In addition, around 100 artillery pieces were present, as well as nearly 5,000 horses, 62 heavy machine guns, and a small number of tankettes. If the Germans wanted to capture Warsaw, they had to neutralize Modlin first. On September 22nd, Modlin was cut off from the Warsaw pocket and contained some 30 square kilometers with this brick fortress located in the middle. The Modlin Fortress was under heavy shelling by German guns as well as attacks from the air. As Brigadier-General Wiktor Thommée recalled, "We stopped trying to put out fires when the task became completely futile. The fortress was in flames, houses and barracks were collapsing. Rubble, unexploded bombs, shrapnel littered the streets and square, bomb craters were everywhere." Sporadically, the Germans undertook ground assaults, but these were not effective. Then they tried to negotiate for a Polish surrender, and this was done by the SS Sergeant Rochus Misch, who later served as Hitler's personal bodyguard. The negotiations failed. Then the Germans, they dropped leaflets trying to break the morale of the defenders, but this was unsuccessful either. Food, medical and ammunition supplies were running low in the Modlin pocket. However, the morale of the Polish defenders was still good and they were not thinking of surrendering. But then, September 17th, the Soviets invaded Poland from the east. This was according to the agreement that was signed the previous month, the so-called Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. The Polish defenders fought brave, but since the Polish army was already crumbling under the German onslaught, the Soviet forces were mostly mopping up the remaining Polish defenders. In the fortress, however, the Polish defenders kept their positions. Things took a hit. September 28th, the Germans led a Polish soldier through their lines. This soldier came from Warsaw, and he had a terrible message. Warsaw, the capital of Poland, had fallen. The commander of the fortress, Thommée, he believed it was now time to surrender as well. Modlin had served as protection for the capital, but since the capital was now in German hands, resisting the Germans any longer was futile. He ordered a ceasefire and sent an emissary to begin negotiations on a surrender. The next day, Thommée traveled to the small town of Jablona to surrender the fortress. He later returned to the fortress and gave his men the order to surrender. After this, the rifles were stacked, helmets discarded, documents burned, and ammunition hidden. Soon afterwards, some 25,000 officers and men marched into German captivity. The capitulation didn't go smooth everywhere within the Modlin pocket near Zakociem. Around 500 Polish soldiers and 100 Polish civilians were massacred by the Germans. An eyewitness, a Polish soldier who was an eyewitness, he wrote the following: "To the left and the right, the field is strewn with bodies of our fallen brothers in arms. Here and there are only shreds of human flesh blown apart by exploding bombs. A German NCO walking next to me beholds this harvest of death with horror. Shocked by the sight, he tells me that history will write about your heroic resistance. I hold my tongue. I cannot tell him what I really think." I think that the German NCO was partially right. See, the Battle of Modlin is a battle which is outside of Poland, fairly unknown. Here I am standing within the walls of these fortifications telling you about the heroic Polish struggle against the German onslaught that took place right here. If you're interested in forgotten World War II battles, I have a playlist for you right here. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, share. See you later.